it's not that I should have had faith in these creators, because after only an episode and a half, I really don't know enough about these creators to have faith in them or not. But I'm beginning to think that maybe I should have a little bit of faith in the creators of the Yu Yu Hakusho live action. Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we're going to be taking a fully spoilery look at Yu Yu Hakusho episode... Is this episode 2 or 3? I think it's episode 2. Let me double check on that. Yep, episode 2. Alrighty. So, what's going down in this episode? If you've read the manga, of course you already know, but this episode takes the time to thoroughly develop certain relationships. And the way that this episode did that actually kind of took me by surprise. It is, of course, well, there's no of course about it, but it is staying true to the original storylines from the manga, and yet it's using the strengths and weaknesses of the live action format to take the story to its conclusion along a different path. And I'm enjoying it so far. So that this episode does obviously have less money paid to the CGI than the first episode, which makes sense. They hook you in with the first episode, and if it's only the quality of the CGI dropping, I can accept it. There was this one wide shot of the children playing in the playground that it was kind of obvious overall. There's no one piece I can look at that and say that's a CGI glitch, but overall the movements just felt wrong. Although, to be fair, that could have been just my video player. And the acting continues to be top-notch. It really, really paid off that they chose actors that cannot be mistaken for teenagers. Oh my goodness. These are all supposed to be 17 years old. It is so funny. Only one of the actors is actually over 30, but none of them look under 30. Not Kuwabara, not Yusuke, not Kurama, not Kiko. But the acting is good. Cost-benefit analysis. The creators traded off believable teenageness for believable everything else. So I am good with that. All right, so we're going to be getting into the spoilers now. So if you don't want spoilers, you can go check out the links below the video. If you want to get into another world with supernatural beings and talking animals and actual teenagers going out and making friends with semi-supernatural beings, check out the link below the video to get a copy of my book, Flying Sparks, Dragons, Aliens, and Things That Go Boom in the Night. 90,000 words of science fantasy adventure. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Rakuten, Google Play Books, etc., and so on. But now, back to the spoilers. Okay, Yu Yu Hakusho Episode 2. We get the fight between the ogre whose name I have never been able to remember in 20 years of being a Yu Yu Hakusho fan. Big red ogre guy. Now, again, this show really emphasizes the fact that the creators know where they can skimp and where they can't. They know how to use CGI to its maximum benefit, but not overspend on it. Because the CGI for the fight was not good. The ogre himself, wonderful. They did that ogre with practical effects. You can tell. That is a makeup on a person. They found a person with the right body type. They did an expert job in the makeup. That is a believable ogre. You don't think that's a guy in makeup. You think that's an ogre that Yusuke's fighting. But they have to make this ogre super powerful, superhumanly strong, superhumanly heavy. And again, they're playing with the fact that as a supernatural being, this creature does not necessarily interact with the physical world the way a human of comparable size or, say, a Kryptonian alien would. Because you can tell the world around the ogre is not reacting to the blows of the ogre the way they should. The cars do not dent under his weight properly. There is a lack of the equal and opposite reaction that much mass should have throwing itself around a junkyard. But again, you don't care. There is plausible deniability. This is a creature of the spirit realm. It does not necessarily have to have the effect on the world around it as long as it's punching Yusuke. And wow, the actor is punching Yusuke. That ogre makeup is spot on. And when that thing comes roaring at Yusuke and slams into him, you can feel Yusuke's desperation. You can feel when the ogre hits him. And kind of on a side note, that child actor from last episode, either the directing was better, or the director was using the child's skill set better, or the kid was just getting better. But the child acting the kid actually has lines, and they're pretty well done. Now, we're getting back to the inevitable comparison between the live-action series and the manga anime. They skip the whole ray gun ring power-up training sequence. Yusuke does not end up getting the ring that would enhance his ray gun. He just jumps straight to the part where he ray guns the ogre the way he did to win the fight in the manga. So, and yep, I understand. That is a perfectly logical thing to cut out for runtime. I did miss it, but only because I'm a manga purist and I liked every bit of it and I want to see every bit of it. But as much as I hate to say it, that is a completely logical thing to cut out. Now, another thing that got not cut out but restructured very well, as I saw from the beginning, was the relationship development between Yusuke and Kurama. Now, these two actors, they really do have that bond of brothers, battle brothers. They got that chemistry going on between them. And they built up the relationship in a different way. They have Kuwabara challenge Yusuke in a way that is so logical that you don't realize that it's their relationship developing until when Yusuke tells Kuwabara to back off. Kuwabara breaks down and says, I can't lose you again. I can't let you die again. And it is such an emotional scene, and it is earned. And even in just 2 episodes, they built up that relationship, and it doesn't feel cringe. And oh my goodness, that's one of my favorite scenes in any story. Ooh, buries the back without a brother behind it. Anyway, good build up between Yusuke and Kuwabara's relationship there. And quite surprising. I don't want to spoil it because it's not something that came from the manga. And it's a good bit of directing and writing on the creator's part. So I'll just let you discover that on its own. And of course, the emotional scene between after the ogre story arc, we get into Kurama's story arc. And if you've seen the anime or read the manga, you know how this goes. They updated the look of the mirror to make the mirror look more modern, which, okay, I did not like it. I would have preferred, this is supposed to be an antique, I would have preferred the traditional mirror, but maybe the dark mirror has the ability to blend in to whatever culture it finds itself in. And this is again where we see that very tactical use of CG. The CG looked good because they knew when to use it. And it makes logical sense because they've already established how magical powers appear. It makes perfectly logical sense that the CG would appear where it is, and the CG is the kind like dust clouds or the fog and rain that they use to conceal Godzilla. It prevents them from having to make super complex CG. This was definitely cheap CG, but it was cheap CG applied in such a way that it didn't look like cheap CG. The creators know how much CG to use and when to use it so that they can use the smallest amount of the cheapest CG and still have it come off looking good. And the scene with the dark mirror is definitely that. It is significantly different from what it was I don't remember it in the anime, and I think there is enough wiggle room in the interpretation of the panels. But the weaving in the developing relationship arc between Kurama and Yusuke and the dark mirror in the way they did, that was completely different from the manga, really establishes this episode as its own thing, while doing honor to the original story and without altering the original story in any significant ways. The scenes with the mother were a bit awkward, but that I am pretty sure was because it sounded much more fluid in the Japanese language version, but the translation made it sound a little awkward. Okay, so then after all of that is over, we get to the closing of the episode, and we flash back to Hiei, who is hunting down Yakuna, which they show that very well. Again, expert use of minimal CGI. And there's just one thing, and this is not a complaint about the CGI. This is not a complaint about the yes, it's a complaint about the show. I don't like it, but I can see how most everybody else would like it. Hiei's third eye is just downright disturbing. I could not look at it. It's integrated very well into his face. Again, not a complaint about the CGI. It's a little too good, and this was one of the things I said going in is going to be a problem. Hiei's third eye. It does not look... How can I put this? It looks natural in that it does not look like CGI. It looks like a natural part of Hiei's face, and the actor and the artist worked together really well to integrate the movement of the eye, but it's not a healthy looking eye. It looks like a perfectly natural, unhealthy abomination of nature. Good creative work there. I am not the person to appreciate it. Okay, and we get a big bad show up at the end, and I'm sure we're all going to be happy to see where that goes. But what do you think, my wonderful viewers? Did you enjoy episode 2? Leave a comment below telling me what you think. Hit that like and subscribe button, and peace out.
Drake McCarty's leg was shattered, deep in the wilderness. As the flash flood closed over him, something alien pulled him from the waters. A military base that shouldn't exist. An ancient warrior with secrets of his own. Drake returns to his family with a whole leg and the burden of a secret he doesn't understand. In the forest around them, someone is watching, and something followed him home. Flying Sparks. 90,000 words of science fantasy adventure. The first novel in the Dying Embers universe is now available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo by Rakuten, Google Play Books, and from the author as a signed copy. Get your copy now and step into a world where dragons walk the forest, aliens lurk on the mountain, and things go boomp in the night.